From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Keith Allen and For the People on this Wednesday, October the 4th, 2017. So glad you have the time to join us today. We do have a full show for you. Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, giving a statement right now. NBC News reported that Tillerson was all ready to resign because of a disagreement with Donald Trump. To see if he addresses any of that right now.
And this is just the beginning of the list of partners and friends across the government who are all working for the American people. There's much to be done, and we're just getting started. To address a few specifics that have been erroneously reported this morning. The Vice President has never had to persuade me to remain as Secretary of State because I have never considered leaving this post. I value the friendship and the counsel of the Vice President, and I admire his leadership within President Trump's administration to address the many important agendas of President Trump, both from a foreign policy perspective and a domestic objective. Let me tell you what I've learned about this president, whom I did not know before taking this office. He loves his country. He puts Americans and America first. He's smart. He demands results wherever he goes, and he holds those around him accountable for whether they've done the job he's asked them to do. Accountability is one of the bedrock values the president and I share. While I'm new to Washington, I have learned that there are some who try to sow dissension to advance their own agenda by tearing others apart in an effort to undermine President Trump's own agenda. I do not, and I will not operate that way. And the same applies to everyone on my team here at the State Department. When I wake up in the morning, my first thoughts are about the safety of our citizens at home and abroad. There's no more important responsibility I carry with me than ensuring that Americans are safe. Providing for the security of the United States must be the number one goal of our American foreign policy. President Trump and his administration will keep moving forward as one team with one mission, doing great things for the United States of America to make America great again. Thank you.
Is that the only thing that you consider to be erroneous in that article?
I think it's the most important element of the article is to reaffirm my commitment to this role that President Trump's asked me to serve and to dispel with this notion that I have ever considered leaving. I have answered that question repeatedly. For some reason, it continues to be misreported. There's never been a consideration in my mind to leave. I serve at the appointment of the President, and I'm here for as long as the President feels I can be useful to achieving his objectives.
All right, Rex Tillerson, this is breaking news as we speak. NBC News. I can't help but think of NBC News without Tom Brokaw, and somehow I think he's still involved with something with NBC News. Good evening. I talked through my nose for over 20 years and had some cognac when I was actually doing the broadcast, but I'm Tom Brokaw, and that's all. Yeah, that's how he spoke for the whole time. It's NBC News. He was better when he was on the Today Show. And that's like many moons ago. And then Brian Gumbel, which I miss Brian Gumbel, but he's great with the sports. Both the Gumbels do sports. But anyway, back to I digress. When I digress, it just gets bad from there. So I just know when to shut it off. All right. So here's NBC News coming out talking about how Tillerson's blood pressure's up. He's all upset in July over the nuke deal, with Iran, that he's trying to keep the Iranians at bay which nobody's been able to do anyways, but okay. And Trump, I guess, is a big buffoon, and he's blasting Donald Trump, all mad at him. And supposedly there's a tiff between two of them. And then Vice President Mike Pence later intervened, supposedly advised Tillerson how to ease the tension with Trump with all of this back and forth. So he tried to be like an intermediate with Tillerson. But with a pep talk is basically what NBC News is saying. But Pence did say that Tillerson needed to come to terms with ways to move ahead with Trump's policy framework. That's what NBC News reported. Now, many other administration officials asked him to stay on for the rest of the year. John Kelly would later become Trump's chief of staff, and Defense Secretary James Mattis did beg him to stay. That's, again, I'm not saying this is NBC News. So the whole point of me reading it that way is that's how they serve it up to their audience, and they believe it. So it takes Rex Tillerson to do a press conference to debunk the craziness that's going on. They pay these anchors to sound so convincing, so important. The graphics from Rockefeller Center in New York. Here again, whoever the heck is reporting the news. And they come on with this craziness. Multiple sources tell NBC News that Rex Tillerson was going to resign because he doesn't believe in what Donald Trump is doing. All sorts of accusations. Undercutting Tillerson. The New York Times reported Trump had posted on Twitter, "I told Rex Tillerson, our wonderful Secretary of State," this is more in line with what actually Donald Trump says about him, that he's wasting his time trying to negotiate with Little Rocket Man. Everybody knows Donald Trump by now. And if you don't know Donald Trump, Rex Tillerson knew Donald Trump. Anybody that's decided to work with Donald Trump, they get that this guy is not the status quo president. Who has a real problem with it and still can't come to terms with it is the liberal elitist media that's still trying to undercut, undermine, as Rex Tillerson says, anything that this president is trying to do around the world, trying to discredit it, trying to disparage it, trying to insult the president in as many ways as they possibly can to turn as many people against Donald Trump. This is going to be their narrative. They're going to be beating this drum all the way up until 2020, hoping, praying that they have enough people agitated enough where they're just going to get Donald Trump out of there as fast as they possibly can, because that is their number one goal. That is their agenda. They lost. They hate the very fact that they lost, so they will do anything, make up anything, say anything that they will do. Use any tactics that they can possibly muster to come up with to try to anger again so many folks to be able to be against this administration and will not work with him, will not support him, and it agitates people to begin with, where already people are edgy as it is, to give people, uneasy feelings about our country. And how can you feel good about it when you get the negativity constantly bombarded with the media? So I applaud Rex Tillerson for the press conference that he just gave. It was awesome. It was quick. It was precise. We're on board. We're together. I never thought of it. Like this job. All these people, they serve at the pleasure of the president. If he wants to resign, he can resign. If he wants to go, he can go. This guy, like Donald Trump, was the president, had plenty of money over these oil companies and Exxon. He didn't need this position. People that serve with Donald Trump are people that love this country, that understand that we are at a big crossroad. We are in a moment in history where we have to make some tough choices. And some of those choices are not easy choices. But they are to protect each and every one of us in a very volatile world where it seems like everything is coming unhinged. We'll be talking about the Iranian deal, a lot of other things through the program. The sisters of Mary Lou, we're going to be hearing some audio from them, their thoughts. And right now, at the moment, the FBI has Mary Lou in their custody talking with the shooter's girlfriend, which they've known for many, many years. I don't know if she was a mail-order bride. People do that. They'll bring them over. But she first came over to the United States for the Philippines back in 2009, from what I understand. But Donald Trump heading out to Vegas this morning. This is him with some comments, stepping aboard Air Force One before he took off. Here's the president.
The police, who have done really a fantastic job in a very short time. And, yeah, they're learning a lot more. And that'll be announced at the appropriate time. It's a very, very sad day for me, personally. Thank you.
You know, this president does not have an easy schedule. He's going from the tropical island of Puerto Rico to the desert sands of Las Vegas, heading to the city just days after the worst massacre in American history, where a gunman on the 32nd floor of a Vegas hotel opened fire on 22,000 people, injured 527, killed 59 people. But Donald Trump, he has a job like most presidents have, and that is to be consoler-in-chief, comforter-in-chief. That's a very important job, and him and First Lady Melania have their job cut out, and I think they're going to do a superb job because, you know, there's a lot more to Las Vegas than just the Strip. There's enormity outside of the glitz and glamour. There's churches, there's schools, people go to school. There's more than just the entertainment mecca. A lot of people work for the hotels and the casino industry and the tourism industry because, you know, people come from all over the world to do business in Vegas, but it's the conference center of the world. More conferences are held in Las Vegas, Nevada, in case you didn't know, than any other place on the planet. So there's just so many services, so many businesses that service those businesses, etc. But it's like Main Street, USA. Other than you get the beautiful backdrop of the desert Southwest, and you get the desert weather, etc. And I have some friends that live out west and love it. I've been to Vegas several times, but folks, it's not easy. You know, dealing with Puerto Rico, dealing with Texas, the islands, and now the shooting. I mean, this has got to take an emotional toll. I mean, there's one thing to see it on television. That's why I try to do a halfway decent job, and I try to do a superb job for you. But I just say this to try to give you the emotional feel in a digital world of what's going on, because a lot of you listening to this broadcast are working your butts off. You try to listen, and this is sometimes, for some, they tell me, many, that this is the only news that they get because they don't have time to sit and watch or read an entire newspaper because their life is going that fast. So they get filled in. So believe me, I take that responsibility very, very seriously. And I appreciate my dear supporters out there that have been encouraging us for the people, and more stations signing on. That's just awesome of you guys. As we turn the page and changed our business plan a little bit, we're doing more sponsorship ideas, which brings me to the beautiful For the People coffee.